All right, everybody. It is 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to everybody here in America.
Wait, this is totally random, totally interrupting.
Yeah.
I apologize, but someone asked for a shout out. They paid Jason for a shout out, like on the way here earlier somewhere, and immediately off the top of his head, Jason knew that the United States was formed 242 years ago.
Yes.
Like in the middle of the shout out, he thought of this. He's like, "Happy 4th of July, happy like
242 years."
Is he right? Is that accurate?
Yes, 1776. People often think it's 1777, but it's 1776.
Yep.
It's like,
But he still does hammer curls with one arm. Go figure.
oh man! And see, I gave him the option, and we didn't do hammer curls.
You guys did a workout video today, right?
Yeah, we did.
All right. So anyway, Ian posted a status on Facebook saying we're going to do a sit-down Q&A, and let's read some of these questions. This one is for you, Jason. What is it going to take for you to get competitive lean, and what obstacles have prevented you?
Dieting sucks, number one, and a ton of drugs sucks.
Why don't you let him finish the fucking question?
That was it.
Yep.
Dieting sucks.
And a ton of drugs. And a ton of protein all day.
Ian, what can you do to help him? He's got a competition, the Ruby, which everyone knows about at this point, at the end of September.
Well,
What can be done?
I think we all know the answer in terms of really generating the best outcome would be I just move in with Jason like tonight and dictate everything that he eats and does in the gym between now and the Ruby.
He's shaking his head like Rachel Maddow.
Well, I am Rachel Maddow. That would explain all of the comments about me being gay and so on. It's perfect. Well, we're off to a great start. And by the way, not even necessarily me. Like, remember, because I just want to note, like, remember how good the progress was that Jason made heading into the 2015 Ruby with Andrew, the other Andrew, Koth Andrew, assisting with mostly with your training. I think Jason made really good progress. So even if someone like Andrew were to have tighter control over what you were doing, I mean, like the best gains or progress that you made with Adam was when he was really trying to micromanage everything.
No, I can't.
We're in the middle of an interview, Jane.
We're in the middle of the interview, sorry.
Serious stuff, Jane.
Yep.
Would you like to be a part of it?
What is it?
We're doing a Q&A with Koth McPhee and your son.
Say you're fucking on my video. Will you shut up?
Stop it, mother!
All right, have a good interview.
Stop it.
What are you drinking, Jane? What's in the
A
cup?
little wine. A little wine. See?
Little wine diluted with vodka.
No.
Reverse dilution.
Just wine and a piece of ice.
Perfect.
Very sophisticated.
I freeze my wine and then use it as ice.
Out of a Solo Red cup.
That's actually really. Wait a second. That's actually really smart. Freeze wine and then, but it probably I don't know, does something.
Is it red or white? What's she drinking?
Some chemist.
I don't even look.
Fake
You
champagne.
know what I wanted to show you? Pugs
Jesus Christ.
on TV.
Oh, God.
Don't you have 2 pugs at home you can show
Yes,
them?
I do. No.
This is the
This
raw
happens to be
uncut.
cute.
Jane, let them do their
Jane, why don't you come in here and have a seat? Grab a chair.
I'm down for some dessert.
therapy interview.
Ruining it.
Stop it! Stop it!
Stop it! Stop it!
Mother.
Stop
All right, so where were we? We're talking about the Ruby and how Jason fell short.
But he made really good progress for about 8 weeks heading into the Ruby. Like that, from my recollection of it anyway, that was like everyone who was paying attention agreed that he made considerable progress. I think he had potentially a level of muscle mass heading into that show that he didn't have at the peak of the Adam era, and he was leaner at the peak of the Adam era. So yeah, I think assuming a certain minimal level of competence on the part of a coach, I think with Jason it is absolutely essential he has a coach to get into his best shape. I think that's completely unavoidable. I think that need not necessarily be me. I think there are many people who can do that, but the greater the level of control, the better. Just because Jason tends to struggle with organization and following through on, I think, things that he knows that are the best calls, which, I mean, I think all of us understand that on some level. It's just more significant with Jason. But look, I mean, the last 2 meals Jason had prior to us coming here and having a 4th of July barbecue, I wanted McDonald's breakfast, and I mentioned that to him, and his immediate response was revulsion. He was like, "No, bro, I don't eat that." And it was very sincere. And similarly, the night before we had IHOP, and he was searching through the menu for something healthy, and he literally said, this late at night, I probably shouldn't be having carbs. And I asked him, "Do you want hash browns or fruit?" And he said fruit.
So Jason, you clearly are aware of what you should and shouldn't be eating or doing or whatever before the weeks and months leading up to a bodybuilding show. But sometimes
I fall.
why?
The taste of the food.
We worked out earlier, and it was a pretty, we did incline barbell press, we did flat dumbbell bench, some back stuff, one biceps exercise, very fucking basic. And if you were to write it down, it probably wouldn't look impressive at all. But it was a blast. It felt to me the way training felt in 2010 when it was novel.
Well, I used to get asked, why did I used to follow you around the old world gym with a camera filming your videos? And my answer is very simple. It was fun. You can watch those old videos I used to film with Jason. I had a blast.
Right.
I mean, you never knew what he was going to say, what he was going to do, who he might get into a confrontation with, slamming weights. It was great entertainment, and I got to see it all in person.
Yeah. I think I just find it extremely difficult. That's a weird way to phrase it, because it's not like I hope I don't seek out being unhappy, but it's almost impossible to be unhappy around Jason. I mean, I would say the only moments that get to me are moments where I feel for him as a friend, if things aren't going well or if there's an issue comes up. But otherwise, he just lifts it for everyone.
The only time I can say being with Jason or around Jason can be very tedious is when the OCD flares up, when he'll ask the same question again and again and again, or text me or call me asking the same questions again and again and again. And I know that's one thing Jason has tried to control over the years, but it can be very tedious, but I've learned how to deal with it.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is to that, but Jason has it's one thing if you have 5 questions that are different questions, it can make sense to ask 5 questions. But if they are 5 variations of the same question, so they're essentially the same,
right.
You aren't benefiting.
No.
You are not benefiting.
It's asking the same question repeatedly until you receive the answer you want to hear.
Yeah.
That's what you'll tend to do.
And if you get the answer that you want, where does that then go? So it's just this.
That's right.
Perpetual.
Let's see, what else do we have here? What is your next major goal, Jason?
Get ripped.
Are you going to do it?
Yep.
Get ripped for what? For when?
Ruby 29, September 29.
Why is this year's Ruby going to be any different than past? Where you get down to that 14 to 13% range, and then you either tap out and basically fail. But what are you going to do to break through that plateau, that barrier?
Change something up.
What? What's going to make this year's Ruby different?
Don't cheat on
Because it's coming. It's 3 months away.
Don't cheat on my diet.
And
Easy to say.
what are you going to change about how you approach things that will let you not cheat on your diet?
I'll say to myself, I can't do this. I want to look good, and I want to be a legend in the fitness world. I'm going to do it for myself.
And I guess I'm kind of in the position of the questioner now, but you, not to put you on the spot in an unfair way, but you had said, because we got Burger King for breakfast, you had said that you were going to eat like a pigeon tonight, and you probably ate like a pound of meat, which, by the way, on some level I respect
eat a
that.
Pigeon?
Eat like a pigeon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wow. And so, there tends to be a disconnect between what you should do and what you say you're going to do, that those tend to be the same, but then what you actually do, something breaks.
Yeah.
That bridge hasn't been built, I feel like. And, I get it, a lot of the stuff like cleaning, when I open the blinds I tend to always open some of them, but not all of them, because I literally get distracted. So I understand all that. But there also really is something to be said for, if I, Jason Genova, want to get shredded and look fucking amazing and the best I ever have on stage at the Ruby, you just have to do things that aren't going to be fun.
Miserable.
But see, that's not the way you, like, you're setting yourself up for failure by saying that you're going to be miserable. You're like, I don't think you'll be miserable, you just won't be able to have croissant witches or whatever they're called. The fucking Burger King sandwiches that I bought for you, for the record.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's delayed gratification. It is saying, no, I'm not going to do this thing now that's fun, that tastes good and so on, because if I don't do this now and I do this instead, on the tail end of all of this, it will pay off with something bigger. Because if you stepped on stage at even like 8% body fat with the muscle that you have right now, the people who say that you, like, I hate to bring up this word, but the people who call you a monkey prick and all of this, those people would fucking cheer you on. I swear
I've told
to God.
him this for years,
in my
Ian.
gut, I like, because you know, there's something about the people who stick around and even stick around to hate. You know, I think most people deep down, even if they're critical, even the people who say I don't even lift and so on, you know, if tomorrow I looked like Jay Cutler, they would say, holy shit, he looks amazing. Like, I think most people want people to succeed, so if you get on stage at the Ruby and you look the best you have ever looked, and it will be great for your fucking YouTube. It will be, you know, 100,000 views, whatever. It just like, it will be beneficial across the board, and it's only 3 months, and don't tell yourself it's going to be miserable. Say that it will be on your pastries and everything in town to get big. Like, you know, it's just like, kind of don't feel like I'm doing anything. You know what I mean?
Just to piggyback on what you said, Ian, Jason,
Yeah.
honestly, how many times over the years have I told you, you would absolutely own YouTube and the online fitness community if you were to show up at one of these bodybuilding shows and you walked out on that stage and you're muscular and you're 8% body fat and you actually have a chance for that first place trophy. Don't think about the misery you have to go through to get there. Think about the prize. What would the prize be?
Gratification on
And I'm not talking a stupid plastic trophy. Think larger than that. What would it be? It'd be what? Not even just money. It would be shutting people up who have talked so much shit about you over the years, right?
I know it feels
I mean, you've talked about getting bullied in in school, and people calling you names. Think about all the shit people have talked about you on YouTube in the comment section over the years. Imagine being able to shut every single one of them up. It's not even about the money or the trophy or whatever, the views and subs.
Just shutting them up.
Just you can say, I finally shut all of you mother effers up. How would that make you feel if you did that?
Good.
It's doable.
Yeah.
It's doable, Jason.
It's doable.
You hold those cards, man. I've told you this for years.
Yeah.
We've had these phone conversations so often. Do you agree, Ian?
Oh yeah, 100%. One thought I had was the fact that so many years into this, with all that's happened, the fact that Andrew is here. I mean, Andrew has done a million times more for you than I have. You know, look, certainly location is one thing, but also, the thought I had was Andrew is a better person than I am. So there you go. That's my assessment of the situation. But we can just put that out there. But
I'll disagree with that one.
I totally lost my. Oh, I was going to say the fact that Andrew is here after everything. And Andrew is not a stupid guy or an unreasonable guy who just does things randomly. He's here because on some level, yeah, it's fun, but on some level he believes in you. And like there are literally thousands of people, maybe tens of thousands. We can't even, everyone in the fitness industry, practically everyone, like Arnold Schwarzenegger probably knows at least your name, honestly. Like, he might not know exactly and like watch your videos, but he's probably like Dana Lynn Bailey, one of the most popular female fitness figures like in the world. Like her husband's music outsold Taylor Swift. That literally happened. Like these people know you, and like all of those people except for the 5 total actual shitbags would be so pumped to see you just break the cycle of some progress, regression, some progress, regression, and you know, it's just like there's so many sayings like shit or get off the pot, or like it's like you're, again, this phrase like not. I don't want to say you're not doing anything, but just on some level, it's like either decide that you're not going to do it at all, or do it with all of your being.
Yeah.
And you haven't exhausted that option of putting 100% of Jason Genova into
About
it.
80%.
I honestly, you know, I hate to say this as your friend, and I have like overwhelming affection for you, but I think that a lot of the time it's like 30%. Like you said to me today, you know, part of why your condo is messy is laziness.
Mm-hmm.
And so laziness, you know, ADD, I don't want to open some big debate about whether or not, you know, I believe ADD to be a real condition that actually relates to the brain and so on. And from having seen you and me having it, I totally think you have it. I totally think that you probably deal with some loneliness and so on that makes life harder. But that laziness you can change. And I get it because I see it in myself. Absolutely, I see it in others. I see it in most people to some extent. And just like really incremental, you know, constantly doing little things to get better. Like don't even think about it as, oh, I'm going to be miserable for 3 months. Think about it as, at this meal, I am going to get fruit instead of hash browns. And you fucking did that last night in front of me, and that meant that I ate 200 or 300 calories that you didn't eat. And like, that was a good decision. Mm-hmm. And that was a very, very micro decision. And if you keep doing that and doing that and doing that, you know, you're not going to win the Ruby because you didn't eat hash browns one time. But if you don't eat hash browns 50 times, if you don't get Burger King 50 times, and you add all of that up, you could get on stage. I honestly think, like, we're not even getting into the whole supplement thing and all that. I honestly think you could get on stage at like 185 and be the leanest that you've ever been, at least on stage. And you know, we don't have to get into the particulars of the numbers, but I honestly think you could keep your muscle and get the leanest you've ever been and get on stage. And that fucking Jason Genova smile, it is so quintessential that like no one else, you know, lights up like you. It's so, like that's part of it, the man of a million faces.
Not only the smile, that when we used to film the videos in the old world gym, a lot of times I would get there before him, and he'd walk into the gym, boom, the door would fly open, and all right, let's film. I'm ready to work out. I'm going to train like an animal today. Say all that before we'd start filming. Is that still inside you?
Yes.
Where is it?
Broken inside.
How'd it break? What do you think broke it? You used to have it.
What do you think broke it?
I'm asking you. Don't look at Ian.
It broke it because...
honestly, where did it go and how do you get it back?
I lost it and I gotta get it back.
How?
Retrain myself. Back to basics.
It's not too late.
Back to basics. Fucking train like a barbarian.
You see what Lenny does before competitions? What is Lenny, 47, 48?
Yeah. It is miserable when he gets ready for contest.
I know. He does it. He gets into the best possible shape he can get into in his body.
Gotta do it.
So Ian, I have a question for you now.
Yeah.
Jason over the years has taken a ton of abuse in the comment section on YouTube and all that. Jason has a ton of fans. He's also got trolls. You've been on YouTube for a very long time yourself. I don't think you're active on YouTube that much now, but certainly as part of the YouTube fitness community, you've taken a ton of abuse as well. You've been DYEL, Mr. Science, McPop-Tarts, doesn't even look like he lifts. How have you dealt with all that over the years? Has that ever gotten to you?
Yeah, so to answer the last part first, it got to me a shitload in the past. I'm thinking 3 to 5 years ago in particular. I think I totally do not intend to frame myself as a victim, but I think that in terms of my subjective experience, it really exacerbated my depression, which, let's be very real, that speaks to a level of a lack of emotional resilience, I'll put it that way. I just didn't, for lack of a technical term, I didn't have the balls for it. To be completely honest, if I really try to view myself objectively, not, you know, I am Ian talking about Ian, but kind of looking at myself as I would look at someone else, I think the majority of criticism I've received, maybe almost all of it to be honest, it was, if not completely justified, it was coming from a sincere place and had some reasonable basis. Like when people say Ian McCarthy looks like he still doesn't even lift, they're not saying that randomly. Like I'm not sure if it was on this taping or the previous one. Like if I looked like Jay Cutler, people wouldn't say Ian looks like he doesn't even lift. It would make no sense. There would be no reason for it. So like, I think people, I get it, in other words. And like I actually endeavor to make fun of myself as much as possible. Knowing a lot of truth is said in jest, and there's a, you know, at some point it does become unreasonable.
By the way, I've heard that over the years as well, because I've appeared in a bunch of Jason's videos.
The DYEL
Yeah,
stuff.
of course. Glove with the wearing my workout gloves, Princess Andrew. So I'm familiar with all that.
Yeah, and you know, and that also speaks to the importance of contextualizing it. Like they're not trying to be a bodybuilder. Like you, how old are you? If you don't.
46.
Gotcha. I never know to, you know. People tell me that people are uncomfortable being asked their age, but then no one I ever ask is actually uncomfortable. Interesting.
No, I couldn't.
But yeah, like you strike me as being in fantastic shape for your age. Like, and I have a particular kind of bias toward mental health, but both. Like you just strike me as like doing a really fucking good job in terms of taking care of yourself, especially at your age. The thought of like, oh, he looks like he doesn't even lift. It doesn't even enter my mind, honestly. I might think like Andrew is taller and thinner than Jason, like literally a very objective kind of assessment like that. But yeah, I get it. I think I'm completely willing to say that if I had been doing all the things right, you know, so much of what I just said to Jason, I could very much apply to myself. You know, the nuances might be different, but for example, I probably left at some point, I probably left gains on the table by not eating enough. I tend to undereat. There were also periods where somehow I really overate and gained a bunch of fat that I didn't need. And there, I did bro splits, meaning I trained in a way that I think now is not ideal for probably a couple more years than I should have, given the evidence that was available to me. And then at this point recently, I've been focused almost singularly on mental health. I mean, to be very blunt about it, if you are on a semi-regular basis suicidally depressed, you're not particularly concerned with the fact that, you know, your chest is looking really flat because you haven't really been lifting.